Hi, everyone. All right, so this topic is Neptune, faith. Is that what I called it? Faith and confusion, or trust and confusion. Faith and trust seem to go hand in hand. This talk was birthed as transiting Neptune has been squaring my nodal axis in Sagittarius and Gemini in the 3rd and 9th house. So when you combine strong Pisces with strong Sag and strong Gemini, you have what's called a mind fuck, where basically everything you think you know or understand or believe in one moment will become the source of utter confusion and paradox in the second moment. So on this journey, I've been gifted with the opportunity to learn some pretty transcendent truths, as opposed to not pretty transcendent truths, to integrate a deeper understanding of love, of wisdom in my life. So before I continue, I'll just repeat one thing I shared, which is throughout this talk, if anyone is really called to speak, share something, or ask a question about their own life, I just first ask you really speak to this topic. It's not an open-ended astrology class. We're really looking at these questions of trust and faith and confusion. Very important areas, really real areas for us. We all experience confusion at times. So I invite you to really speak up and share, and then we'll definitely have more time in the second half, during the second segment, to go more in depth in people's charts. So as I mentioned, in my own chart, I have transiting Neptune in the 6th house. Sorry for the kid, by the way, just kind of coming with the territory in this moment. Wherever we find Neptune transit, we're looking at basically where truth is wanting to be seen, where we have the opportunity to surrender to what is absolutely true. And what is absolutely true is true right now. Neptune doesn't talk about something that's true in the future, something that was true in the past. Neptune is now. I use the word now, truth, and love. It's all the same thing. Something really powerful we realize on the journey is there's only one reality. That reality is complete. That reality is whole. We can think that God is complete and God is whole. There's nothing lacking in divinity. Lack and process and unresolved only exist within identity structure. But in reality, there's nothing wrong. There are no problems. So where we have a Neptune transit is where there's this opportunity to realize this. And the word is surrender. We surrender to the truth. Surrender is this motion, is this gesture of falling into, giving ourselves over to something that the mind can't do it. We can't control it. We can't even understand it. That's why I like the word surrender more than the word figure out, or more than the word, even better than the word realize, actually. Realize resonates very well with Uranus, because it's realizing the intelligence of creation. We just sort of observe, we notice what is instead of our projections of what is. That's a Uranian thing. But Neptune is the surrender to the absolute reality of now. And, it's like jumping in the water. You only do it by jumping. And the thing about surrender is there's absolutely no way to explain how to do it. There's no way to force anyone to do it. There's no way to force yourself to do it. It wouldn't even be accurate for me to say you just do it, because that doesn't really get you anywhere. Surrender only happens from a state of surrender. There's an inherent devotion, there's a bhakti to it, where this part of ourself that doesn't remember to forget, that that forgot to forget, right? This part of ourself that is connected to what we're all connected to, which is the truth, this state that we've never left, this place that we're not even going to because it's where we've always been. There's something within every being. There's something within every grain of sand that knows this. The intelligence of the one permeates all of the one to the exclusion of nothing. No condition, no time, no space can defeat that all-encompassing one. And so there's something inherent within everything that senses the one, that senses truth. And it's where we just defer to it. Deferring to it means it's not necessarily going to make sense. And it might be contrary to everything that we believed. And so that's what surrender is in my blossoming exploration of this. And because there's a part of us and part of everyone that knows, that remembers, that senses a oneness, the source, there's an inherent longing within everything to return to that source. It's like this existential sense of there's something that is big and meaningful and relevant, intimately relevant and ultimate to who I am on every fundamental aspect of my being. There's a feeling that we all contain within ourselves that there is a truth. There's a state of landing, of arrival that is fully encompassing to address and acknowledge and meet every aspect of our being. And we feel that because it's true. We feel that because we all are of this same essence. There's this part of ourself that knows our original origins, our inherent belonging. Yet when we translate that impulse, we can call that the transcendent impulse, which comes from this innocent aspect of our being. That innocent aspect of our being is our God self, and that's our soul. This is the beyond our stories and our identity. It's this inherent remembering that we all carry within us. It's the remembering of now. It's the remembering of love, of where we come from, of who we are. And when that impulse is translated through ego structure, through identity, it's basically a filtered identity structure looking on the outside to find a way to satisfy that deep yearning. So that's where we have Neptune will translate to all kinds of idealizations of reality and the particulars of reality, the people, the experiences, the possibilities, the answers, to satisfy that deep sense of there's something greater, there's something ultimate that I want to know, that I want to merge with. And in a way, we all do that. And we might learn and grow. And in fact, you might develop compassion and forgiveness and learn about the power of love. Yet for most souls, what we're basically doing is returning to knowing the truth, returning to a remembering of the one within the context of very conditional circumstances. And so there might be temporary experiences of feeling completely rested, completely at peace. But then the context change, the conditions shift. She leaves, the car breaks down. The thing that we were certain was going to happen because an angel freaking showed up in front of us and was like, yeah, tomorrow, go here, you're going to learn this thing. And we go there and all these horrible things happen. And there are moments of faith where we just felt like I'm one with reality. There's no separate, I'm not needing to worry about anything, nothing to look for. And then so quickly we realized actually our peace, our profound sense of belonging was dependent upon condition. And now that things didn't work out the way I expected to, now that this thing that I deified unknowingly has left me or abandoned me or up to someone else, or now that my guru isn't available or wherever I've deified my reality has kind of fallen away, I'm now in a place of doubt. I don't know what to do anymore. And we all go through that in our own little ways. And we can live lifetimes persisting with a dream reality, putting meaning into something that for a time gives this feedback of meaning and belonging. Like it can be alcohol, it could be a relationship, it can be a substance, it could be a job, a role, an identity structure where everything's working out so well. And our disbelief, in a sense, is temporarily sustained because there's nothing to challenge us. And when grace hits, we are truly left in the desert of what the hell do I do now? We're really left in that place where there's nothing to hold on to, where there's nothing on the outside saying, this is the answer, this is the way to go. This is where to direct your consciousness. This is where you will find God. And there is a deep teaching in this. The highest expression of faith and trust that I am finding is one that is chosen. It's one wherein we decide, I don't know if I'm doing it right. I don't know if I understand what's going on or if I'm getting the messages correctly, but I'm going to choose in this moment to live unconditionally peaceful. I'm going to choose to be happy in my belonging. I'm going to choose to be content in my choice to surrender to the inherent okayness of reality right now. And to take that into any choice we make, any decision we make, is a testament to our true knowing that there are no problems in reality. It's a testament to our true knowing that fundamentally we are not lost. It's when we shift our orientation to looking for peace, to embracing it and accepting it, to surrendering to peace. Love and peace and contentment and well-being is a thing to surrender to. It's a profound teaching that most of us really just don't want to accept as real. We are really stubborn when it comes to accepting that well-being, harmony, peace, love, belonging, these are all Neptune words. They are things to surrender to, not things to find or figure out. And during this time that Neptune's been squaring my nodes, I've been just repeating in my mind this one teaching from Jesus: seek ye the kingdom of heaven first, and all else shall be given to you. I love it. That's such a good one for me. I really resonate with it. And to really apply that is looking at all the places where we actually put the kingdom of heaven over here and the thing we're researching over here, or the relationship we're struggling with over here, or the health concern we're not clear about over here, or how we're going to make money over here. It's basically really, really tempting to say, yeah, this whole God thing, this whole unconditional love thing, this whole unconditional well-being and peace, that's great, but I got to pay taxes. Or that's great, but what am I going to do about this relationship? And the teaching of spirit, the teaching of our source, the teaching of this present moment is all the answers are here. Why? Because the teaching of the present moment is there are no problems. And it's not dismissive. It's never dismissive. That would be to miss the point entirely. It's not like, yo, hey, stop worrying about it. Just, eat nachos and stop worrying about your problems. They're not a big deal. They're not a problem. That it's not how it works. There is a growth. There's an involvement in our human dualistic life experience, but not from this place of there's a problem to solve. The very solutions that we come into are a relinquishment, a temporary suspension of our investment in there being this big issue to work out. And so it's almost like, I mean, literally, I mean, we can just always look at the example of how we, in the lives of other people, sometimes in the lives of children, or if we're in a professional context of being a guide or a counselor, astrologer, or whatever, to other people, how so often the role that we play is just kind of holding a space for other people to shift their investment in how they're thinking about their life and to become receptive to our vibration, to become receptive to how we are perceiving their life. An example of this might be a person that says, I keep on giving to my partner, and she doesn't return. She doesn't give as much. I feel so disillusioned. I feel so angry. I feel so hurt. I feel so taken advantage of. And what we might be able to offer this person, if we're in this position of seeing, of compassion, of awareness, and we're not seeing a problem, we may be able to present the possibility to this person that there isn't a problem. And there's a curiosity thinking, well, what do you mean there's no problem? Yes, there's a problem. I'm feeling hurt. There's a problem. I got to solve this. But we allow this individual to get a little more curious. It's like, wait, there's no problem? Say more. Because I'm feeling pretty hurt right now. Like, yeah, I know you're hurt. That's what Spirit's kind of doing. It's not denying anything. It's not invalidating our feelings, but it's helping us recognize there aren't problems here. There isn't an issue. Identity wants to link our discomfort with an external issue. There's a problem. But really what that's doing is self-punishment. What we perpetuate, and this is the core of the belief of separation. We don't realize we're doing this, but what we're basically doing is, I don't deserve peace now. I'm valuing and holding on to a state of separation. I am punishing myself because I believe I don't deserve everything. Because I believe that I don't deserve unconditional love. I don't deserve peace now. We don't realize that we're doing that. And that's exactly what we're essentially doing when we stay in judgment, when we stay in concern, when we stay in fear. It's a way of sabotaging ourselves from the only truth there is. And again, the only truth there is a forgiving truth. It's forgiving because it says it's okay. The truth always says now is okay. It's profound. Really grasping that is so profound. And to grasp that and then to feel profound discomfort. It's that very place where the existing identity structure is like, well, I must be wrong, and I must be missing the mark. Because if I'm thinking there's something wrong, but apparently nothing is wrong at all, it might be that I'm confused. And the answer is yes. In fact, the answer is more than that. The answer is you don't exist. Like the whole identity structure is built upon this entire framework of fixing something. We exist as individuals, but most of our identities, most of our personalities are entirely built around this sense of there's always something unresolved. There is a threshold that we cross in life on this journey where our sense of self is no longer defined by problems. And we begin to start tasting that. It's like, oh, I get how it could be. It's a completely different paradigm. What is it like where there isn't always something wrong? In that world, there's really no space for this identity that in its very nature exists to fix things. So most of our identities are built and equipped for confusion. It's like if you bought it at Walmart, it's like it's Confusion 2.0. It's like the newest updated version of Confusion person. It exists to live in paradox, to live in uncertainty. It's programmed its very way of being and reason for being is to create arguments through the reality and to try to solve those arguments. And eventually it's taken off the shelves because it becomes kind of obsolete. It's like you've used it so many times that the one who bought that identity is like, I think I'm going to exchange this for something else, right? It's like we are the ones that bought the identity. We realize, oh, I don't need that. It's not so necessary for me. So let me jump into this a little more deeply and talk about confusion. Today's topic is trust and confusion, or faith and confusion. And I was jotting down some notes, some reflections on what I think confusion is. And what I find confusion is literally a state of being where our existing projection of what isn't matching up with what is at all. It's profoundly disillusioning and confusing. Confusion is confusing. It is so because in this state, we've created in our mind a construct that makes everything sensible. Like it puts everything in the right place. This is what you are. This is what I'm doing. This is where I'm going. So I have the South Node in Sag in the third house. Sag in the third house. Sag in the third house loves to think about spiritual, loves to think. To be a big thinker. Is orienting towards understanding the greater truths and talking about them. And I have Jupiter, the ruler of that, conjunct the South Node. And Jupiter is in the fourth house. So recently I've been on this journey of buying a van home. A van home is a home that I can live in and travel with. Sag in the fourth house. And of course, third house is, vehicles. And then Jupiter in the fourth is home on the road. Traveling home. So the van home idea really resonates with my archetype, with my essence. It's very relevant for me. And then that Sag in the third is all kinds of options and possibilities and beliefs and perspectives. Van life culture. How are other people living in vans? What are their views? What are their perspectives? Or here's an idea. This is the kind of van I want. And my Jupiter is conjunct Neptune. So when I began looking for a van home, I began having a lot of dreams. I would be shown different vans. I would get messages about different possibilities and I would follow it and I would learn a lot. But a few times this experience would happen. I'll share one experience where I found this one beautiful van. It was $95,000, far beyond the scope of anything I thought I would afford. But I dreamt of it. I kept on looking at it online and I was like, I think this might be the van for me. And I won't go into the whole story of how, a really big loan became available. A couple different loans became available to me. And I was getting prepared to pay for this van. And I go and I drive the van around and I'm just like feeling horribly uncomfortable in my belly the whole time. Because in my mind, I'm like, this is the van. But I'm driving it and it didn't feel like my van. It was uncomfortable because I wasn't willing to accept the present moment. I was only willing to accept, no, this is my van. So what I was doing, I was meeting my discomfort and rationalizing, oh, no, I can make this work. I can live in it. I can improve it. I can make it work. But it didn't feel authentic. And I was wise enough not to purchase it right away. I gave myself a night, and really a couple hours after I left that van, to avoid getting stuck in the mind, I went straight to the river and spent some time outside by the water. And I became honest with myself. And I just allowed myself to feel what I felt without knowing or figuring out what direction I was going to go. And I felt stifled. I felt anxiety. I felt depression. I felt a screaming no. And I sat with it. And I decided, no, this is not my van. And I know what it's like to convince myself of a direction in life that in one moment I thought was true. and to not be willing to question it in the second moment, but to follow it anyway, because to follow it would mean, to not follow it would mean I was wrong. To not follow it would mean I haven't figured out the answer yet. I would like to pull up my chart, but I'm actually not on my computer. Linda, do you have my chart available on you?
Sure, just give us one moment. Okay.
So in not choosing this van, I was left with a profound feeling of I once again failed to know the answer. I thought I knew the answer. I had this whole meaning laid out in front of me. This was going to be the van. Once again, I am in confusion. I don't know. But because I've been there so many times, this place of I know what I'm going to do. I know what the answer is. And then realizing that I actually don't know, and it's not the direction. I've been there so many times that there's something opening in me in that moment where I was willing to see this whole experience in a completely different light. And what I realized, and this is really the main teaching that I'm bringing forth here, is in really being honest with myself, I had to acknowledge that the truth that I'm seeking isn't a belief, isn't something my dream showed me and that told me I'm wanting to find the truth from the inside. I'm wanting to come to a van and not pull an oracle, not look for a dream message, not call one of my teachers and ask for a sign. I'm wanting to live a life where my yes comes because I'm choosing it. And I just held that. I just held that feeling on the inside. Now, what's interesting is when it comes to that way of being, external guidance can only help us to a point. Because when we seek a lifestyle, a way of being where our yeses, our choices come from an inward place of deciding, a surrender to our trust, there's really nothing anyone can possibly say or give or do for us that can add to that or take it away. Like when our orientation is the inside, that's the only thing that we can reference, which means there's nothing out there that might be pointing us in any particular direction. So check out my chart here, REMW. We have South Node in Sag in the third. Jupiter is right next to it. North Node in Gemini in the ninth. And the ruler of that is Mercury conjunct Neptune in the fourth, also conjunct the ruler of the South Node, Jupiter. As a child, I talked really quickly, right? Sun, Uranus on the South Node in Sag in the third. I was 10 steps ahead of what I wanted to say before I said it. So I would literally be tripping over all of my words. I didn't know how to slow down. I also thought everyone was stupid. I was irritated by school. I thought everything was just so stupid. Like the whole construct, the teachers, how they were teaching us. It was so stupid to me. Meanwhile, I really couldn't communicate my thoughts very well. So I was very frustrated as a child. And then we had that Mercury Neptune, which is a big spiritual, learning a lot of humility in this lifetime about how I use my mind, how I communicate, how I express myself, using my words with love. It's a big part of my karma in this lifetime, in my own journey of disillusioning and sort of healing, where there's been a strong emphasis on intelligence and knowing. I know I have the answers. That's been an identity structure for me. And so I felt embarrassed early in life, and it's still there. It's still there to some extent, in facing that I don't know. So a part of me talking really quickly and not slowing down was I really felt like I had to explain and prove my knowing. When people would ask me questions, I wouldn't take the time to feel the answer and to feel the words before I'm speaking them, to really feel the essence of my knowing. I jumped into the word. I jumped into communication. And it all just kind of came out. My biggest memory as a child would be people saying, what, slow down, what? And I just got so used to people not understanding me, not just not understanding the words, but not understanding. And the core of this, I didn't give myself the space to really come into my own truth. And then people ask me questions. So when I was on this van journey, people would ask me, so how is the van hunt going? And what I would notice was my growth, a growth edge for me, was to stop and to actually feel, what is it like for me right now? And to answer, I think I'm pretty confused. Yeah, I was looking for a while, but I would go like 2 weeks or 3 weeks of not looking for a van. And then I would like shift into a new mindset, and I would just like travel 400 miles in 2 days, and I would look at like 30, not 30, I would look at a whole bunch of different vans. But then I would get exhausted, right? I would just be trying so hard. So to be emotionally honest and be like, yeah, I'm just not thinking about it right now. Or like, yeah, I'm confused. Or I had a dream about this van, or I just dreamt about this van and I saw it and I don't want it. And now I don't know what to do. To actually be honest. And the embarrassment of not knowing, of not having an answer. What I found about my own journey is there's like an existential feeling of I'm screwing up if I haven't figured out God. It's like, if I don't know the truth, if I haven't figured out what God is and what God wants of me and who I'm supposed to be and what the right way is, then I'm spiritually inadequate. That's like, if I would say that's like my core belief here, really, in my chart. And this is lifetimes of living in spiritual, groups, traveling, and adopting very, very austere and devoted lifestyles where it was all about some kind of belief structure, right? Like denying pleasure or denying money, denying possession, following a certain lifestyle. All that really worked well for me so long as I believed in whatever philosophy I believed in. And in this lifetime, Mercury conjunct Neptune in Sag, dissolving all of my thought forms that have organized themselves around beliefs. So it's like I'm speechless. Like, what do I have to show? What do I have to say? Ruling my North Node, Gemini in the ninth. It's a way of knowing the truth that's very adoptable. Gemini. It's not fixing itself on like this is the way. And clearly this lifetime for me is about dissolving these investments in knowing. So for me to come back down to I don't know, and then to think about Jesus. I think about Jesus a lot. I'm at the river. I kind of feel disappointed in myself. I'm not living in a van by a river. I'm feeling guilty that I haven't bought a van and I'm hanging out by a river. It's quite not exactly what I intended. I was hoping to be in a van at that point. And I think about Jesus, and I think about that teaching, seek the kingdom of heaven first, and all else shall be provided for you. It's like, how will a van be provided for me from heaven? Also, aren't I supposed to choose it? Aren't I supposed to make the choice? This is not a heaven thing. And this is the very, very sweet place where deeper spiritual understanding comes in. Of course, everything comes from heaven. Of course, everything comes from source. Everything comes from source. That is the foundation of everything. Source permeates all of creation. Physical form and structure and vans, and all the places where I find I need to figure it out. Those are the very places where I'm forgetting the truth, which is everything comes from love. Love is buying a van. Love is making a choice. Love is driving to the next destination. It's where I think I am something other than love is where all the confusion comes. And then I can live my life being like, I did it right. I found the right van. I did what I was supposed to, but inwardly empty. I find that spirit and the way spirit moves and speaks and operates through us and to us has no concern for our literal notions of things. very often we're led down a path, not so that literally the thing that's at the end of that path will be the answer for us, but just so we can walk it. Spirit's always direct. And the quickest way it runs is the space and the contours that our ego structure allows for it. It's like we provide the banks for the water to flow. Our minds are the faucets that turn on or off the water. And it determines the width of the flow, the size of the flow. We are the ones choosing and dictating how the infinite can or cannot show up in our lives. And so when we're led down a path and it's disappointing, it's not because the answer was at the end of the path. The answer is always you. The answer is always the self. The answer is always who you are. There's no other resolution than that. Every other resolution is a false investment in something that will give me some kind of temporary peace until I play it out to the point that it just falls away. And then I return it at Walmart. So on my journey in surrendering to the love that I am, it defeats all these conditioned beliefs and ideas of I can't just be the love that I am because I got to buy a van. For me, being the love that I am, you know what that looks like? It looks like singing, often. It looks like making love. It looks like giving and being playful and kind of mischievous. It looks like living in a way where I'm enjoying the people and the strangers, the environment around me. There's a feeling of play and spaciousness. The feeling that a child has when they're just relaxed and at home in themselves. And look at my fourth house, right? Neptune in the fourth house. Being at home, anywhere. Sag in the fourth. Feeling a sense of brotherhood, family with the trees, with the plants, with the animals, with the people, with the journey. To enjoy it, to enjoy the unfolding. That's what arrival looks like for me. And that's where all the gifts come. Our allowance of spirit and our allowance of guidance to open up comes as we allow ourselves to live in love now. There's no other way that the universe works than that. That's the greatest teaching, and thankfully so. Thankfully, it's not this other program of inner and outer as two different entities. Thankfully, the oneness is inner and outer. If not, that would be confusing, right? If it wasn't like that, then we'd have to figure out the right way to do things to make things work. And thankfully, that's not the case. So fast forwarding a little bit, I had 2 dreams about my van at different points. One where I saw myself playing, I play piano. So I saw myself playing this beautiful, full-length keyboard on this board that rolled out from underneath the bed and then opened up to the outside. You opened the sliding door of the van. I had that vision. I had that dream. And then I had, what was the other one? Okay, then I had another dream where I was in my van and I parked it and I got on a scooter and I'm riding my scooter. Okay, so there's a reason why I share that with you. After I moved on from the river, I reconnected to love and I just found an innocent calling to go into Craigslist. And each phase was like a letting go of existing beliefs of like, I thought I wanted a big van. Now I think I want a short van. It's just letting go of what I thought I knew and just being open to the journey, finding out along the way, not holding on to any belief. So like, I'm okay if I change my mind. That's a big one for me. It's like, yeah, I want a 23-foot van, but I'm okay if I change my mind. I might not want that tomorrow. To have that openness, because love isn't wanting to be fixed like that if it's not truth right now. So I began looking for shorter vans. I was looking at a 16-foot van and I was like, I don't want a 16-foot van, but I'm like, let me try it out. This looks like a cool van. So I drove like 4 hours up into Washington to find this van. I met this guy. He's a beautiful Christian brother who travels the world helping people. And he built this van himself. And I decided the van was too short for me. But he had this piano keyboard that slid out from underneath the bed and opened up to the outside, just like I dreamt of. And I was like, oh, holy shit, this is the van. This is the van I'm supposed to buy. I dreamt of this. And I was like, whoa, wait there, Ari Moshe. Wait. You've been here. Wait. Slow down. Okay. Think about these ultimate truths that you've been learning. This might not mean it's the van, but I dreamt it. Like, this is what I saw. It was my van in the dream. Slow down. Just slow down. Okay. And I just had to reference the truth of the moment, not what my mind wanted. Like, oh, maybe this is the van. You could adjust to it. No, I don't feel a yes. But that's cool. It has that slide out keyboard. Cool, I dreamt of that. Let's just see where that goes. Then I go to the next van. They have a scooter, an electric scooter underneath the bed. And they said, yeah, we're not really using it anymore. And if you buy our van, we'll give you the scooter for free. I test drove the scooter. It was as exhilarating and as fun as it was in my dream. And I had to talk to my friend. I think Melanie's here. She helped me. I was kind of processing these two experiences, the keyboard and the scooter. And she shared a helpful perspective, which was, well, maybe it's just showing you that you want to create those things in your van. I'm like, oh, of course. I didn't have to buy the van that had the scooter or the keyboard, but they're reflecting to me my truth. I want a keyboard, and I want a scooter. So the journey has always been taking me away from the mind and right into my direct experience, into my direct knowing. So in my chart, so Neptune is in Pisces right now. It's been squaring my south node, right? And Pisces in the 6th house is perfectionism, spiritual perfectionism, and the security of wanting to get it right, wanting to know the absolute answer, and in not making choices, feeling completely muddled and confused, and just wanting to get over it. A big thing that we do with Neptune in transit and natally is we want to just like get over it. We want to know what pill to take so that we stop suffering, so that we stop being confused. A few months ago, I had a dream where I was told, you're not buying a van, you're making a van. Then life is exciting. And I didn't understand that because I really didn't think I was going to make a van. To me, that was far beyond my capacity. I was thinking I was going to buy an RV or buy an existing conversion, and I didn't have the time or the energy or the will to make my own van. So to shorten this story, I ended up buying an empty cargo van, and I actually am making my van. What brought me to that place was meeting vans that were converted and realizing, yeah, I like it, but I would actually change that. I would change that. Or how did he build that? How did he make that? How did he build that? And in its own natural timing, I realized, I think I could just build this myself. I learned a lot along the way. And I felt this freedom in just buying an empty van. So the day that I went to buy a van, I was faced with a great fear and a great anxiety. And it literally, to the day, Neptune was exactly squaring my south node, and the moon was on my south node within the minutes that I actually signed the lease for the van to finance it. And the only thing I was able to repeat to myself was, I'm seeing this path with love. I'm buying this with love. I'm choosing with love. I'm not choosing perfection or an ideal perfection. I'm not looking for the right way or if there's a better way or if this is the right thing to do. But I found love. I found a sense of peace and excitement actually in buying an empty van, even though it was literally the last thing I thought I would do. So this is the journey. And this is an example of that in my own life recently. So now Neptune's passed. I've had this van for 1 week. And it's literally the coolest thing that's ever happened to me my entire life. I'm I have no shortage of things to do with my time right now between astrology, music, and making my home. But it's put me into a completely different paradigm where I'm thinking completely different ways. And if I were to describe it in the most simple way, it's me living as if I'm home. Fourth house. I'm beginning to live as if it's my home, not a home I'm adopting to or adjusting to. Karmically, with Neptune in the fourth house, and Jupiter there too, I've been traveling all over the place, living in other people's homes, but inherently alienated and foreign from it, not belonging, always an outsider. What this journey has done for me and is doing is it's creating an Ari Moshe Wolfe culture. It's creating an Ari Moshe Wolfe home. I'm creating my own home that resonates with my own scent, my own essence. I have a body. It's not your body. I have a unique nature, and I'm creating a home that suits that. No beliefs can enter that. It's all about the direct experience of my own nature. All right, let's stop the screen share. You can stop the screen share, Linda. Great. So confusion is where we have an idea about what's true, and we get confused because it's not true. And the biggest piece that I would want to offer is our confusion and the pain, and it could be anger, hurt, whatever that we're feeling, isn't a sign that there's something wrong or something to fix. It just means there's more of the truth to see. It means there's a place within ourselves where we've decided that discomfort equals something wrong. And I've had this potent realization recently, and I want to share this with you. I've been thinking a lot about the ideas of right and wrong. And, of course, on the level of spirit, there's no wrong, right? There's only truth. Truth doesn't have opposites. But I was thinking about how we use the word wrong a lot, and I've resonated a lot with the idea there's no wrong, and yet so often I will hold this feeling of I'm doing something wrong or there's something I'm missing. And I've come to realize that wrong is a good word. It's a really useful word to use. And I want to present the way that I've been thinking of it recently. If you're answering a bunch of questions on a test, and the question, let's say, says, circle the right answer. I swim in the ocean and, have fins and scales. A, am I a rhinoceros? Am I a human being? Am I a fish? If you circle rhinoceros, you're wrong. You're wrong. It's the wrong answer. All wrongs are like that. Like, there aren't wrongs that are like a devastatingly big deal. All wrong is simply you missed the mark. You had a false understanding of reality. You put value in something that isn't true. You were confused because you had a bunch of associations. Oh yeah, rhinoceroses, they have those big noses, and that's a fin, right? Because I read somewhere that fins are about that same size, whatever it might be in your mind that made you think rhinoceroses belong in the ocean. There's actually just innocence underneath all of it. We have put these associations around being wrong as like, uh-oh, now I'm going to be punished. Now I'm no longer deserving of God's grace. And that's one of the big sorrows of patriarchy, where we've created associations with wrongness that are completely unnecessary. They're added. But wrongness is, oh, really? I thought rhinoceroses were water. No, it's because you were mistaken about this thing that you read. Oh, I get it. I was like, oh, I thought you were, you were my soulmate. Oh, I see. I was just believing something and I held on to it as the truth. And I realized that's exactly where I got confused. We can go back 30 lifetimes and locate a moment where we began to believe in something that wasn't true, but really thought it was true. One of the Neptune irky places is where we're just really unwilling to let go of our belief, right? Every generation has, the belief of like, this person's the Messiah, or, Jay-Z Knight Ramtha will every once in a while come up with a new prediction of something that's going to happen in the future, and then it doesn't happen. And then our students have to kind of like rework their minds because they lived their life believing it. They invested, they talked to all their friends and their family about this event that's going to happen on this date. We had the whole story of Shabbatai Tzvi, which is I wrote a little about that in the EA Neptune book that was published a few years ago. The false Messiah, in a Jewish Messiah, and towards the end of his life, he converted to Islam. And then all of his Jewish followers were like, okay, we'll convert to Islam too. And then some of them were like, what do I do with this? So, so really there's just innocence there. We believed something at some point that made total sense for us. And if we're willing to just look at it and learn, if we're just willing to kind of take a step back and come to the present moment, which doesn't have an existing opinion. So in the present moment, there's an inherent openness to be wrong. There's an inherent openness to realize that we were deluding ourselves, and that's okay. If we're willing, I'm willing to realize that my van isn't the right van for me. I'm completely open to that. I don't feel that vibration right now, but there's no fear of that, because ultimately what I'm learning is truth is my friend. Truth is my ally. I couldn't go wrong. I'm not going to be without a home. I'm not going to be without nourishment. That following truth is actually supportive of everything that is needed and relevant for my life journey. So we never need be afraid of questioning ourselves. And yet we could also enjoy certainty. We can enjoy the certainty of, I'm rested in my van. I don't have to look for another one. In fact, what love is showing up right now as in my life is solar panels. Thinking about what kind of insulation. I'm going to get wool insulation. Now, that's my intention right now. We'll see if I do that. What kind of paneling do I want? Maybe I want cedar paneling how do I do that? Right? What's my budget? That's so exciting for me. That's where the juice is. So are we at the 10-minute break right now, Linda?
In about 3 minutes.
Okay, great.
Okay.
So let me define trust or faith. Faith is surrender to the inherent wholeness of right now. It's unconditional. And I'm going to close with a little song before our break. I sing for the sake of this moment. I sing for the sake of my peace. I sing for the sake of this healing. I sing for I'm living in ease. Living in this moment, living in this moment alone. All one, yeah, yeah. Living in this moment, living in this moment alone. All one, yeah. I sing for the sake of surrender. I sing for the presence of now. I sing for I want to remember this moment's an infinite well. Living in this moment, living in this moment alone. All one, yeah, yeah, yeah. Living in this moment, living in this moment alone. All one, yeah. Permission for all is my mission, no condition to be what I am. Permission for now is my mission, no conditioning this love that I am. Living in this moment, living in this moment alone. All one, yeah. Living in this moment, living in this moment alone. All one, yeah, yeah. All right, everyone. I'll see you in 10 minutes.
Hi, Ari Moshe. It's good to see you again.
Hi, Chuck.
Your words are very comforting. I think you've answered all my questions with your wonderful narrative, but I'll ask anyway. But before I do, because you ended on a song, one of the things you said sparked remembrance of something that was written decades ago. Just a short, simple, very simple verse, but may I share that with you?
Please.
Okay. Enjoy the unfolding, there is no price. To help just one to feel good is for all, don't you see? Understood? That pretty well fits in with the subject. Now, my question, if I can set it up, because I think this is an important day for me. Are the progressions in here somewhere?
Oh, you didn't ask
Linda?
for them. You didn't ask for them.
I know, I almost did, but I'm sorry. Transiting Neptune is in my 5th house, and it's within a minute past exact opposition to, I'm very nervous, so bear with me, to Chiron, opposite to Chiron. Yeah. At the same time, it's just about within a degree of trining my ascendant. So this whole thing with trust and Neptune, I'm not asking this very well. But my progressed, there are a couple of things why this is important. If you the transits aren't here either. Saturn is at 846 of Capricorn now, and you see my Mercury is 840. So, and it's retrograding right back on top of that. And then Pluto is just knocking on the door of my 3rd house, where my Sun is and where natal Lucifer is conjunct almost exactly. Progressed Mercury is at 2814 of Aries. And as you can see, that's exactly to the minute right now, square Lucifer. The information that I get from you, I think, is going to be very important. The other one.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Yeah. I want to invite you to speak your question and share and not speak the astrology.
I'm trying. My question is about accepting everything, all that is.
Take your time, please.
Yeah. I have a problem with organized religion. I'm married to a Mormon woman who just very day we had a big blowout because I can't speak about astrology because you talked about choice is my choice. She says you have choices and you're not open to the spirit of Jesus Christ and all that stuff. All you have to do, you know that, all that stuff. Pluto, and I have to talk about my chart. Pluto and North Node in the 9th house, and progressed Pluto, or moon is 7 degrees of Leo in 2 minutes, and my moon is 7 Scorpio. It's exact, so it's important. I have to bring that up because it has to be considered. And in the 9th house, all this about, this isn't going to work. I can't surrender and accept everything. I have doubt. And the Lucifer thing conjunct my Sun, I don't like to be told what to do. I don't want God to tell me I have to follow commandments. But I want to know everything. Why don't you just, if you have anything to say about Neptune opposite Chiron and trying the ascendant, that would be just great. Anything, just a little bit, I'll get out of the way.
Well, I'm not wanting you to get out of the way. I'm wanting your mind to get out of the way a little bit.
Yeah, really.
I don't want to interrupt you, or I'm not trying to take you away from your sharing. But what I'm wanting to just invite is a little more spaciousness, because I have nothing to say in just looking at your Neptune transiting opposite your Chiron.
Oh, okay, fine.
But what what I want to kind of connect to with you, and just give me a moment to feel into it, okay?
Sure.
Obviously, there's a big trauma and a karma around not being accepted, not being heard, and not the whole reality around there being a core fundamental truth, like a permeating deep one that you carry inside of yourself. And that's, I mean, your North Node with Pluto, and then the rule of your South Node up there, retrograde with Mars and Gemini in the second. That right there speaks so much to the mind tripping up a natural communication expression of who you are and being accepted as the human being that you are, and not needing to prove anything, not needing to explain anything, not needing to get lost in unnecessary conversations and discussions.
All right.
Yeah.
Can I interrupt you? Mm-hmm. I don't feel sorry for myself or wish that I was more accepted. I just want to know the truth. And I have this constant, somebody else with their truth, and they're so adamant in
right.
there.
That's what I'm saying. So this Uranus Mars, it's about liberating from unnecessary communications. It's dropping it. There's trauma for you around knowing and trusting yourself, really trusting that. And a part of what you're exploring right now, what I feel you're on the edge with all of this,
a little bit,
if this resonates, is on edge. It's not what I meant, but I get that. It's like, stop playing that game with your wife. Just stop. Don't go there. Live in your paradigm. Don't try to join her paradigm. What you get to do is realize you don't have to try to force any kind of belonging or acceptance or connection with her. Let it unravel and reveal what it wants to be, what it is. It's when you try to fit your individuality into a box that is not natural for you. That's when a whole lot of unnecessary communication and dialogue and sharing comes in. And Mars can be very violent and argumentative and, trying to use logic when it's not necessary at all. What I'm sensing in you is there's no issue in terms of you knowing who you are and understanding yourself. And my feeling intuitively around what you're feeling even presenting this is, there's no question that you had. There's no answer that you're seeking. This is really just a matter of you trusting what you are. And this Neptune piece is unconditional self-love and acceptance and forgiveness. Basically, it's asking you to forgive yourself, live your life, walk your path. And it's ruled, this Neptune in the 4th house is ruled by your Neptune in the 11th, which is trining that moon, that Mars, Uranus, and it also squares that 2nd house Mercury, which rules that 7th house Gemini stuff. This is about not looking for belonging anywhere. The very karmic situation that you're manifesting and been manifesting for a long time is literally living in an environment where the world around you does not reflect who you fundamentally know yourself to be as an eternal soul. It's like, why would any eternal being choose to create a reality for themselves where illusion is being reflected all around them? It's ultimately, in my view, it's ultimately pointing to you where you have the opportunity to trust who you are and just drop the game. It's like, it's as if you were here playing a board game and you realize, oh, I can actually get up and redirect my attention elsewhere. To me, this is, and whatever guilt there might be around, your sense of responsibility in that Chiron in the 10th house, that's what's being healed right now. This might be an invitation for you to really listen to the innocent part of yourself that only affirms the truth, and not be afraid of being alone, not be afraid of standing out, not be afraid of being different. I'm not saying you're right? I'm not saying that. I'm saying don't play the same game. Don't live in someone else's reality. Live in your reality, because that's the only reality that exists.
How do you do that? I mean, I've tried everything. I don't like being like this, and I know I believe everything that you said. I feel everything that you said, but I'm still like this all the time. Not all the time, because I get into the
talk a little more about what like this is for you. How would you?
I'm sorry.
I'd say a little more about what like this is for you. Like, how would you describe it?
Okay. What? I'm sorry. I don't hear that well. Could you say that one more time?
Speak a little more about. You said that you're always like this, or often like this. Say a little what that is.
Like what? Yeah. I think constantly, like you were talking about yourself, thinking all the time, wanting to know the truth, always trying to get at things. But always the doubt. I guess the doubt is the key. That's why trust is important in what you're saying. And faith in the 9th house and one I want to put. I don't have that faith. I don't even know that there is anything beyond this life. I mean, the doubt always jumps in to destroy the fluidity of things inside of me.
If I can play with you a little bit, Chuck, to pose a question. I'm looking at your moon in the 12th house, right? Which fears loss. I mean, that moon right there is like, I don't want to be alone. It doesn't want to lose this deep permeating desire to be close to the divine womb, to the feminine. And, moon in Scorpio may as well be wife. And so a thought that arises for me, just theoretically, is who you are different? Like, is the truth of who you are, does it change when you're in a marriage or when you're not in a marriage?
No, it doesn't change.
And is the truth of reality, does that change?
The truth of the irony, did you say?
Truth of reality, does that change?
No.
So there's an invitation for you to direct your attention towards what is unchanging and give yourself complete permission to follow the path of your love. You get tripped up, it seems, in trusting yourself because of the fear of change, the fear of loss, unless you involve yourself in what is not appropriate for you. But you are to realize that who you are, and thus what is true, what is fundamentally true about reality, cannot be altered or changed, no matter what you end up doing with yourself. The only thing you can possibly do is create a lot of noise that makes it harder to notice what's true. So do whatever you need to do. Give yourself whatever permission you need to give yourself so that you can choose peace. And that's kind of like the teaching of today's talk, that peace and well-being is a thing that we can actually choose any moment because it's actually the primary reality. Everything else is just noise. And looking at your chart, if I think about Neptune and Libra in the 11th house, like what would be like the big aha with Neptune and Libra in 11th house is inherent belonging, inherent harmony. And where there's a perception of disharmony and a false idea that you need to work out relationships to find harmony, that's where the illusion is.
Okay.
You asked about like, how can I do this? Kind of like, how can I surrender? And the mind might want to know, like, specifically, what do I do or how do I do it? And I respect your journey. I don't have an answer for you, but I can reflect, just feeling kind of the essence of what's happening here. Find out what surrender really is, like have that genuine devotion. And I know that you've been on this journey for a long time, so it's already building. So my reflection or suggestion for you, and you get this because you're the one who's choosing to put me in this position. So I'm humbly offering this to you, that I feel like you already understand this, is become genuinely curious about what is fundamentally true about life, about your life. Like start really questioning that. If well-being is my primary reality, if peace is my primary reality, it must mean that I can accept it now. And then all questions that I have are answered through that. And where you find that temptation to invest yourself in conflicts that don't exist, that's where you get to explore your faith. That's really where the journey opens up.
Okay.
And it's I remember talking about this with you. It's like you have a lot to give. So a lot of your Kundalini energy has been wrapped up in resolving conflicts that are not your own for a long time.
Yeah.
Hey, can I ask
Yeah.
something really quick?
Thank you so much, Ari Moshe, and I apologize for being so bumbly. And to
That's
everyone.
fine. That's all good. Don't worry about it. We're just fumbling around anyway.
Hey, is it okay if I add something really quick?
Sure.
Yeah, and just in case if my doorbell rings, I have to go because the client's here. But on his chart, he's, it's like he has all this trauma from his past life that is something that it's like it's in his cells that he feels it. And it's like, yeah, it's Aquarius, and it's like, I know everything you said is just so right on and amazing, but it's also that his thinking it's really like trauma stuck in there that needs to process out.
Right. What I'm hearing you saying, Lauren, is like that South Node in Aquarius in the third house is there's a default towards the mind.
Yes.
Like that would be a pattern that I see for you, Chuck. It's like when in feeling unsafe, the default orientation is to go into thought. It's like to try to logically make your world make sense for you.
And it squares his ascendant.
Not getting anywhere.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, and it squares his moon in Scorpio, so exactly not feeling safe.
Yeah, and that's exactly where this journey has nothing to do with logic, but you're looking at North Node, 9th house, Scorpio moon, 12th house. This is all intuition and water. This is all surrender for you.
Yeah.
And it's simply like, I know that when I speak to you, Chuck, I know that you know this, and yet the only thing that remains is for you to trust it. Yeah, thank you, Lauren, for pointing that out. It's an important piece for that Uranus South Node.
Yeah, thanks. I just like noticed it, and I was just like, it's true, because we're also afraid to feel the trauma sometimes, and because it's scary and uncomfortable, but we have to surrender to the uncomfort and become comfortable being uncomfortable.
If you're called and Melanie doesn't mind, Chuck, you might want to connect with Melanie because she has really similar karmic pieces for you as you on her own journey, and it might be a fun exchange if you're both interested in that. I just wanted to plant that seed.
Yeah, you can always reach out.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions?
Hi, Ari.
Hi, Marty.
Hi, this is Marty. Hi. Let's see, get the video working here. Okay, hi. Oh, now I can't see his chart. So anyway, from what I can remember, I think the North Node was, thank you, Linda, was conjunct Pluto. Mm-hmm. Now, please help me, Ari. When the North Node is conjunct Pluto, especially like this, does that mean that there is no Pluto polarity point?
Let me see. Is it retrograde? Well, it's retrograde, so it means there's still unresolved karma around this. I'd say retrograde will here imply that there's an element of reviewing, revisiting, reliving, going into something that wants to be claimed and unresolved. In this case, unraveling unresolved latent power. And yes, according to Jeff Green, there would be no Pluto polarity point.
Thank you. I always get stuck on that. 25 years I get stuck. But looking at this, it's amazing to me that Chuck is sitting right where he needs to be right here and now, just what you said, and believe in himself. The ruler of the North Node and Pluto are in Leo. He needs to believe in himself and know where he is. He's on a journey. He's sitting in his truth. He's got it. I mean, look at that. The North Node is stationing direct, and Pluto is applying retrograde pressure. They couldn't be any more conjunct. The realization is that he's right where he needs to be. Stay on that journey, right? You're Sag. You know the journey. 9th house.
Yeah. Thank you, Marty.
Oh, yeah. You're welcome. Bless you. You're welcome. Thank you. It blesses everyone.
Yeah. Thanks, Marty. Oh, Ari Moshe, I have a question about this chart.
Yeah, this is fun.
Yes,
Chuck,
go ahead.
Is this cool, Chuck?
What?
Is this okay that we're all just...
Oh, of course. I love it.
Okay, great.
Okay, great. I really love that you pointed out the trine between, hang on a sec, I've just got to mute everybody. Only unmute if you're speaking, everyone. Okay, that's better. Okay, you mentioned the Uranus trine Neptune and the Mercury in the second house squaring Neptune and that Mercury in conjunct Uranus. I found that very interesting because there's a repeating theme of the Libra archetype. Could you please tell me or explain how Mercury blends in with the Libra archetype, like Mercury and Venus together? You know what I mean. I couldn't seem to work it out. Yeah.
Well, it's actually really linked in this chart. So I would say it's Mercury in Capricorn, the second house, is an independent thinker. Someone who thinks deeply for himself, comes to his own conclusions, is content with his own way. There isn't a lot of seeking or looking for external validation or information in this Mercury signature. The very crisis and challenge and the exact nature of these past life karmas that have been perpetuating is this inward reality, this inner authority, Capricorn, that is validated from within itself in conjunct to Gemini in the seventh. His immediate environment doesn't understand him. His partners don't understand him.
Wow, yes.
Projections. And then the challenge is staying self-confident, staying self-assured while being in relationship. The feeling can be like, well, I can't relate. But it's only a conflict if that's seen as a conflict, meaning there's a point of relationship so long as he's not trying, Uranus, to fit into someone else's reality. And that trine with Uranus and Neptune simply means it can be very easy for you, Chuck, to live a duplicitous life where you harbor your own inner spirituality, but you're kind of pretending. It's like it can be very easy to blend in and be a fly on the wall, so to speak, and just fit into a reality and not lie, but like kind of just go with it and be agreeable. This right here is speak your mind, be authentic, question, enjoy conversations, but not from the vantage point of trying to arrive at some kind of logic. Don't try to logically make yourself understandable. Don't try to engage in logical discussions about things that can't be explained logically with other people. Gemini in the 11th house, especially relative to that Mercury, is you know what you know, and you get to enjoy having discussions like, oh, what do you think? What's your perspective? And it gets to be a gathering and a sharing of information and knowledge, not trying to resolve a conflicted relationship. It's a fundamentally different reality. It's like me meeting a stranger on the road who's like wearing a pink hat and has a big sign that says they're a part of the pink fluffy snow cone religion. And I'm like, that is cool. Tell me about that religion. And it's just an interesting exchange. And I might find a lot of synchronicity and resonance and there's a lot of really interesting connections available here. But when it becomes about needing them to understand me or me needing to relate to them or to agree with them or understand them, that's not Aquarius. That's not Uranus. It's about we're neighbors. Appreciate your orbit. Appreciate your wife's orbit. You don't have to be a part of the same community in a way that your mind thinks it needs to be. There's a natural place for everyone. So that's, in this case, that would be the sort of tension between the Venus and the Mercury energies in this chart. Of course, Venus itself is Sag in the first house, square in Chiron. Your soul wants to fucking trust your knowing and go off and do your work in the world. It wants to claim your authority and teach and write and share. It wants to step into its power. And that means you won't be understood. It means you might be judged. It means you might be criticized. And that's okay if that happens. Being misunderstood is okay.
Thank you all again.
Okay, we have a question from Patricia. Go ahead, Patricia. Patricia?
Hi, sorry. I couldn't get the audio unlocked. Hi, Adi. So I would like to ask you about my Neptune in the first house, and I've always been having a bad diagnosed prescriptive glasses, right? Since I was 8 years old that I got my first glasses. So I don't know if that has anything to do or could have a meaning of having Neptune in the first, since it's the physical body, and then I'm kind of new in astrology, but I see that my sixth house is ruled by Aries and Chiron's there, and it's the house of health and everything, and it rules the eyes. If there's anything connected to this, or anything that you can see about this.
Sure. I'm not the best at physiology, but I do often observe that eye issues has a very strong fifth house correlation.
Mm-hmm.
And we can think about just the psychology of being seen or seeing, right? With the fifth house, we really love creation. We adore and are adored as creators, as creation.
Uh-huh.
So you have the south node in the fifth house ruled by Neptune and Sag in the first. So let me just absorb a couple of the symbols here. That Neptune is squaring your 10th house, Saturn in Virgo.
And my moon.
And your moon is opposite, and they both square the nodes. Tell me a little bit about your life and what are you doing right now? Like what are you focused on in life?
Well, I'm trying to focus on getting a job. It seems very difficult for me, and what I am doing is I'm giving English classes here to student kids in Spain. And I have like 6 children that I give classes to. I've been doing that like around like 5 to 6 years now, but it's not a money that that I can live with, without any problems. And I'm very, I don't know, but like in 2008, I think I had a Uranus transit that activated something in my chart, which started for me to start studying astrology, 2008, 2009. And I've been studying by myself, and so I'm very immersed in the spiritual evolution of myself, trying to know me, trying to understand myself, because I don't understand myself very much with that stellium that I have in the 12th house. I am studying right now about planets in the 12th house, and it's very much overwhelming for me, what I'm studying and getting to know about those placements. So I'm a little bit in that situation, studying astrology. I'm very focused, obsessed with trying to understand and learn, and doing a lot of my Gemini moon. It doesn't stop thinking and wanting to learn, and so I'm always doing a course of something, or I love teaching, but it's impossible for me to open up an academy right now. So I'm right now in that situation. Everything is very confusing, and
here's like what comes to me is, would you consider yourself a joyful person?
I considered myself a very joyful person when I was in my 20s, but not now. Actually, I would consider myself a very, very sad, very inner inside, like where nobody else can see it.
Yeah, it's closing the shade. I can sense that.
Yeah. Like everybody looks at me.
Yeah.
My Neptune in the first house is like there's like a tremendous deep sadness inside my soul that I don't know where it comes from, but somehow I come off as a very happy and joyful and fun and smiley person because I am, but really deep inside I'm not.
Okay. So let me just take a moment with this, Patricia. I want to pose a question and to see where you take it. Do you feel open to the possibility that you are totally capable and permitted to live a joyful life at this time in your life? Do you feel that's a possibility?
Yes, I do, but I don't know how.
Good, good. Why do you think it's a possibility?
Because I think that I somehow deep inside I know things, and but I don't know how to express them or make them so because I lack a lot of earth in my chart, so it's like I can't make things come to sustainable, you know what I mean?
So, this is a very common Neptunian situation where there's innocence, beauty, joy, creativity, and you're full of that, obviously. You have this South Node in Pisces in the 5th, ruled by Neptune and Sagittarius. This is intuitive, exciting, creative, independent. It's like a flower. It's like really flourishing. And then there's a sense of Neptune squaring Saturn in the 10th. How do I translate that into the world? How do I make it practical? How do I ground it? How do I earn an income? How can I do my life, make my art, and actually sustain myself? And that 11th house North Node is also, get involved in community, get involved in the world. It's wanting you to not just live in a cloud, but also integrate yourself within humanity. And so often there's this experience of almost like, and this is very clear in your chart with these nodes and the squares to them, two sides of you, right? So one is this very Virgo side, where from what I'm gathering from you,
bless you,
it's you're busy, you're doing work, you're serving, you're helping people, you're involved in good community work, and so there's that side of you. Then there's this other side of you that just wants to play, that wants to run metaphorically naked in the forest and dance with the animals and talk to the fairies. Like there's a spirit essence in you that wants to come forth, that's wanting to be given permission. And what I'm seeing you exploring right now on this journey is simply what it feels like to live divided, what it feels like to put parts of you in categories. And if I were to offer any suggestions from you for what you shared and what I see here, it's to explore this transcendent possibility, this inherent permission that is available to you to live both. To notice the places where you equate joy and happiness with, but whenever I try this is what happens, or I don't know how I'm gonna, survive with that. It's like where it's almost like it's not good enough to live with an open heart, where it's not good enough to love life unconditionally and to love yourself unconditionally.
I'm starting to love myself. I'm starting to make small changes, of improvements of myself, but But yeah, I mean, it's not like going in the forest and dancing with the fairies, but I do feel definitely that Virgos and Gemini part of me is unstoppable, and I do I really feel that very much, and I think I'm thankful of having Saturn in the 10th, because then I think I would be just in the forest living with the fairies. I wouldn't be locked down to Earth, right? But I think there's a lot of things that I feel that there's a lot of things that I have to slowly unravel or slowly live, experiences that I still haven't lived, or I haven't been able to notice them, of the stellium that I have in the 12th house.
Just remember that you're not being punished. That's what's coming to me. That feels important to share with you. You're not being punished in this lifetime. Like, this is not, there's not some sort of punishment unfolding that you have to go through and endure until you can finally not suffer anymore. This is at the core you coming into mastery. You're learning how to contain and hold the vibration of your light in physical, so that they're not these big two separate things. And if you can just remember that.
Uh-oh, hang on, just hang on.
Okay.
Wanda, I'm going to pause here.
Linda just asked me to repeat the last thing I said, which of course I don't know. I'll just start somewhere. My suggestion to you, Patricia, would be to practice knowing who you are everywhere you go, and to notice where there are certain places where you harbor this inner sense of like, there's a light in me, there's something in me that's not expressing, that's not actualizing, that doesn't really belong here or doesn't seem to resonate. This is all about, you're not being punished. I see your message definitely in a moment, Melanie. You're not being punished where you have to somehow hide yourself or stay divided. This is all about you really bringing in more integration into your life. And oftentimes sight, spiritually, like we often find this metaphor is, what are you not seeing about yourself? Right? What are you not allowing yourself to acknowledge about who you are? And sometimes the greatest peace is when we stop thinking some big things have to change and unravel. And you just decide, I'm going to give myself the gift of really enjoying my life. I don't know if does that feel at all relevant for you, Patricia?
Yeah, in part, yeah. What another thing that came up right now is like I'm seeing the Neptune with Saturn, the square. When the word wouldn't come out. Well, would it be that I've always felt like my father wanted me to be something in my life, and maybe that's what I'm punishing myself because I haven't achieved maybe what in my family is asked for, or because I don't know, and the Saturn with the square, the moon, my mom is more open and she's very much more caring and all that, but everything is just, I don't know, very difficult.
Yeah, those are clear karmic reflections for you in your relationship to the masculine in that way. And that reflects exactly where you're healing an internalized shame and judgment around your own belonging within physical form. That's like the most existential, essential way to think of it. You're giving yourself this permission to trust your own authority, to trust that it's okay to inhabit space. It's okay to be what you are, that you're acceptable. As a part of the journey, it might be helpful for you to do some grieving, for you to really look at, where you hold shame. And there's a lot of really great healing work.
Yeah, I've been noticing, like, I don't know, maybe a year to now, that I haven't noticed before, that actually I can feel things, like when I meditate. Like I can feel, um, I don't know how to explain, like energy through my body. And for example, I bought this crystal quartz singing bowl, and it's focused on the eye chakra.
Uh-huh.
And when I make it sing, I use it to heal my brother that has a sclerosis. I don't know how to say that in English.
Uh-huh.
Um, uh, so, well, he's sick, and it helps him. And my mom, I don't know. It seems like I can help people with that, or I have
Absolutely, you can. So
power or something.
there's no question, and I want to go to Melanie has a comment for you, but there's no question at all about the gifts that you carry and the power of your love to heal, the power of your innocence and your attunement. It's clear in your chart. This is now about you letting you integrate that as your human self, letting yourself actually trust that you are a spiritual being manifesting in this human form. Like, what does it feel like in your body when you walk around, when you're with your students day to day, and you let yourself feel the truth you are? If I were to offer you a mantra, it would be this: everything I do, I am pleased to feel in my body, in my breath, in my essence, the love that I am. And this is what will pave the road down the road for you to become more of a professional in your work, meaning to offer your work, to be teaching, and ultimately to be even taking on students down the road, whenever. In you bringing the tools and the practices and the healing techniques and just the ways of being in a good way on this planet to other people. The bridge that you're building is by bringing your light, what you are, into everything that you do. And more you'll find yourself in a state where your work in life are the very things that you love most. It's just a matter of not waiting or hoping for some future shift. Your work is really just that reminder of, I'm integrating my love now. Melanie, what did you want to share?
Well, I wanted to just channel a bit of advice from my good friend Ari Moshe, based on some of the things that you were saying. Maybe a different additional mantra. I am here to live a joyful life, to sing with all my heart, to love with all my might. Is that how it goes? I am here to live a joyful life, to sing with all of my heart, love with all my might. I know I switched a couple of things around.
It's a good one for you, Patricia. It's a really good one.
Thank you, Melanie.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Ari.
To choose, create and go.
Hello?
Hi, Wanda.
Hello?
Hi.
This is Marty, and I know that we're moving on to another chart, but I just wanted to comment on Patricia's chart, that she does have Venus retrograde in the 12th house, and it's right near the ascendant, and that's the most rarest of retrogrades. And I would just say to you, I'm going to be as quick as I can. Patricia, you might really want a one-on-one with Ari. He is Sagittarius, and that Venus in Scorpio retrograde is actually the ruler of this. Well, it's not the ruler of the second house, but it is the container of the second house. I mean, the second house ruled by Venus is your relationship to yourself. And you might really want to look at a chart that shows your Venus South Node and North Node, because that's going to give you a storyline I think that someone like Ari could really relate to. You're feeling alone, you're feeling aloneness. Jeffrey calls Venus retrograde a funny kind of aloneness. You're unseen, you're unheard, but you've got Sagittarius ruling that second house of your relationship to yourself, which is absolutely key here. And Sagittarius is openness and honesty and freedom, and you have a very intuitive nature about you that you need to really explore and let loose. That's your diamond right there. And also the intuitive, the Sagittarius voice is your natural voice, which is deep, intuitive silence. So you relate naturally to the natural world and the wildness and the animals. And you want to look deeply into that. And I think you would want to explore that some more. So thank you, Ari.
That's beautiful, Marty.
Wow, can I say something? Thank you very much, Marty. I resonated with that a lot. I love animals here. And yeah, my Venus in retrograde is wow. I don't understand it, but thank you very much, everybody.
Remember that whenever something is retrograde, it ultimately has the gift to us in bringing us inside. Where there may have been an overly external orientation, and Venus in Scorpio in the 12th house retrograde, Pluto ruling that in the 11th, is basically asking you to reference your own soul. Nothing on the outside of you. And that's where the essence of the talk that I gave in the first part is really, really relevant for you. Because there's something in that signature that's there's nothing to depend upon. There's nothing giving you permission to trust yourself. And it's that very place where there's a great potential for you to really shift gears into a different paradigm. Also, Jupiter in the 9th in Leo, right? Ruling that second house Sag that Marty spoke about. There's a lot of creative energy and a lot of gifts to share in trusting yourself. There's no question about that for you. Okay, Wanda.
Hi, Ari. I wanted to, and must be this Neptune thing, because that was going to be my question. I wanted to ask about the Neptune retrograde. And since I have that conjunctive south node, I still don't feel like I have a grasp on it. So maybe if I hear other perspectives, it might make more sense to me.
Let me feel into it. So in general, Neptune retrograde can, on the one hand, speak to an overinvestment in some kind of ideal or dream that we put so much faith and hope into that it then manifests in this lifetime as this opportunity to unravel that and come back to zero, come back to center. It creates more of the possibility of not just playing out the same illusion, although we can, of course. Neptune retrograde also can speak to the intention in this lifetime to cease the looking outward, the investment in lost or in not found or not arrived, and to become committed to an internal knowing of the absolute truth. Here we have Neptune retrograde on the south node, ruled by Pluto with Uranus both retrograde in Virgo. And we have your moon and your Venus squaring the nodes. So the only thing that I would say from these signatures is that this speaks to prior lifetimes where there would have been an over-involvement, over-investment in struggling with external power and external authority, external sources to have your freedom to actualize your purpose, needing to struggle and needing to try very hard in order to accomplish, in order to achieve, where there would have been a lot of using your mind, using your words to go and spy or investigate certain issues. Scorpio in the 3rd house, being able to be mentally agile to get to the bottom line and to have really strong argument. And it also can mean where other people's manipulative behavior has taken you and taken your power away, where they've been very cunning and sharp and deceitful with how they've spoken, of how they've used their words. And however it's gone, it basically puts you in a place where you're rededicating your mind. That Neptune 3rd house Scorpio with Pluto ruling that, and with Uranus, is like redirecting your mind towards God, towards Goddess, orienting your mental energies and holding it, taking control of it to serve and follow your path. There's an element of confidence and self-claiming and self-trust. And wherever there would have been blocks or confusion or not trusting yourself or getting stuck with other people's manipulative behavior, this would be a claiming of your power. So this Neptune retrograde, in my view, would be inviting a deeper embrace, a deeper commitment, Scorpio, to know what your mind is for and to commit yourself to that at all costs, to claim the power of your divinity and to use that in the world. Being on the South Node, any retrograde planet on the South Node does inherently, in my view, emphasize a level of relive. There might be a lot of gifts in it, but that retrograde piece really speaks to something that needs to be re-explored in a more integrated way. Does that help, Wanda?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Cool. Well, it looks like that's it. Thank you, everyone, for joining me today. So good to be with you all as usual. Now I am going to go into my van and think about what I want to do to it. Do
Ari
some
Moshe,
writing.
do you have a picture of your van?
Yes.
Let me see. I got to make sure I don't show you any of the inappropriate pictures, but I got something. I definitely got some van stuff going on. Oh, wait. No, not I just got a new phone. So
next time.
I'll see it. I'll be sure. You know, it is my van will be almost as common as my body in terms of how I appear online. So that's what I think of you. So you'll see it.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Ari Moshe Wolfe. Thank you from all of us. Any comments from the audience? Go ahead.
Enjoy your van.
Thank you.
Yeah, fun with your van. Awesome idea.
I'm looking forward to seeing your build. I'm kind of following the van community. I've been doing it for probably about the last couple of years. So I'm excited to see see it when you're done.
Yeah.
Happy trails to you.
Happy trails.
Okay, see you next time, Ari Moshe, and thanks everybody. Bye.
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you.
Chuck. Thank you, Patty.
Thank you, Ari.
Excellent.